The retreat was supposed to be a healing moment, reset for the cast of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta Season 13. But what unfolded was anything but peaceful. It all started with a petty exchange between Bambi and Spice, the kind of sharp-tongued clash fans are used to, but no one expected what came next. In a moment that has everyone talking, Erica Mena exploded at Mendeecees in front of the entire group, screaming the now viral line, "I'll have you locked up." Yandy was caught completely off guard, stood frozen, helpless. Her eyes said everything: confusion, betrayal, fear. It was like time stopped right there. Videos have been circulating. Fans are reacting in real time, asking the same question. What pushed Erica to that boiling point? Was it something Mendeecees said, or was it years of tension finally snapping in? One raw emotional blowout. Social media is flooded with reactions. Some claiming Erica went too far. Others are saying Mendeecees must have done something off camera to trigger her rage. And Yandy slept standing in the middle of it all, watching her world unravel again. This wasn't just another retreat fight, this was personal. And now, with whispers of legal threats and unresolved drama, fans are asking, did Season 13 just change everything for this trio? Let's break it all down. It started like every other fake Kamana Love and Hip Hop trip. Drinks, awkward smiles, and that quiet kind of tension you can feel, but nobody talks about. The cast had been brought together again for what producers called a restorative retreat. But everyone watching knew it was just a matter of time before something exploded. And this time, it didn't take long. What kicked it all off wasn't even that deep at first. Just a little back and forth between Bambi and Spice about who was being fake and who WASN single quotes T.Spice threw shade. Bambi clapped back, and within minutes, the entire room had turned from light jokes to raised voices and sighed eyes. Bambi stood up, drink in hand. Her voice was steady but heated. "You always got something slick to say," she told Spice, her tone sharp. Spice didn't back down, brushing her braids off her shoulder like the words didn't faze her. "Nah, you're just sensitive. Don't blame me if your truth sounds like shade." That was all it took. The table went quiet, all eyes bouncing between the two women, tension crackling like a live wire. Yandy leaned toward Mendeecees and whispered something, trying to keep things from blowing up. But the fuse had already been lit. What nobody realized in that moment was that Erica had been sitting there simmering. She wasn't in the original argument, but you could see the way her jaw clenched, her eyes scanning the room. She was waiting, watching. The moment Bambi brought up fake friendships and people only showing up when cameras were around, something in Erica switched. Her head snapped toward Mendeecees and Yandy. "That's funny," she said loud enough for everyone to hear. "Some people in here really love to perform when they think nobody's watching." Mendeecees raised his eyebrow, confused. "What's that supposed to mean?" he asked, voice low but firm. Erica tilted her head, smirked, then said, "You know what it means? You and your picture-perfect wife need to stop acting like you're above the mess when half the time you're stirring it." Yandy blinked, caught off guard. "Erica, this has got nothing to do with us," she said calmly. Her voice had that edge to it, tight, controlled, like she was trying not to let the situation get to her. Mendeecees stepped in, hands raised in a peace gesture. "We're not here for all that," he said. "It's supposed to be a clean slate." But Erica wasn't done. She pushed up from her seat, pointing directly at him. "A clean slate," she repeated, her voice rising. "Nah, see? You don't get to show up after everything and pretend like you aren't part of the problem." The room got even quieter. All the little side conversations stopped. Phones were already out. Someone had hit record. Bambi and Spice were watching now, their fight completely forgotten as Erica started pacing. "You want to play innocent?" she said. "But I remember the things you said about me. It's the little comments, the side conversations you thought I didn't hear." Mendeecees shook his head. "I didn't even know what you're talking about." But Erica wasn't listening. She pointed again. Don't lie. You and your wife love to act like you're above it all, like you don't gossip. 'Kay? Like you don't get messy behind people's backs. Yandy opened her mouth to say something, but Erica cut her off before she could speak. And you just stand there letting him talk, slick, smiling like you're not part of it. Yandy's face changed. The calm she had been trying to hold on to cracked. You've got some nerve, she said quietly. You've got a problem with me, say it. But don't drag my marriage into your mess. Erica laughed bitterly. It's a mess now. I thought you were above the mass, Yandy. Isn't that what you always say? Always preaching about family and healing? But you pick and choose who gets your grace. Mendeecees stepped between them. This is getting out of control, he said. We need to chill out for real. But his voice didn't calm anything. It only made Erica snap harder. You think you can just play the peacekeeper and nobody's going to call you out? Nah, not this time. She stepped up closer to him now, face inches from his. Keep talking, Slick, and I promise you I'll have you locked up. The words hit the room like a grenade. Everyone froze. Gandhi's mouth opened, but nothing came out. Mendeecees took a step back, stunned. What did you just say? Asked. Kara crossed her arms. You heard me. I'm tired of the games. Keep pushing me and we'll see how fast things go left. Her voice was calm, but the threat in it was loud. Bambi let out a low whistle. This just went to another level. She mumbled, pulling her phone out like everyone else already had. Spice whispered something to the girl next to her, eyes wide. One of the producers standing off camera took a step forward, clearly unsure if they should cut the scene or let it play out. Mendeecees didn't move. His jaw was tight. You're threatening to call the cops on me. For what? Erica shrugged. Whatever I feel like. Maybe for getting too close. Maybe for trying to intimidate me. Maybe for thinking you could talk to me any kind of way just because you think you're the calm one in the room. She looked around, then added, let's not pretend like men don't get away with a lot on this show just because they keep their voices low. Yandy stepped in now, her voice sharp. Stop it, Erica. You're twisting everything. Nobody came at you. Nobody raised a hand. You started this. Erica turned, her eyes blazing. I started this. Nah. Y'all started it when you made me feel like the crazy one. Like I was always doing too much when really I was just reacting to being pushed. Mendeecees took a breath and tried to diffuse the moment again. Listen, I don't want any problems, but you can't just go around threatening people like that. Erica smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Watch me, she said. Because next time I won't just say it, I'll do it. Someone in the background let out a low damn. The energy in the room had shifted completely. No more jokes, no more fake peace. This was a real line being crossed, and nobody knew what was going to happen next. The cameras were rolling, producers were frozen, and in the middle of it all, Yandy looked like she was breaking. She wasn't yelling, she wasn't crying, but her hands were shaking just enough that you knew something inside her had shifted. Something that wasn't going to be easy to come back from. Mendeecees didn't say anything at first. He just stood there staring at Erica like he was trying to understand how things got so out of hand so fast. But the room wasn't waiting. Voices started rising again, the crowd buzzing. Everyone reacting, whispering, filming. Bambi leaned into Spice and muttered, Yo, is going to be on every blog by tonight. Spice nodded, eyes locked on Erica like she couldn't believe what she just witnessed. The entire energy had flipped. No more jokes, no more retreat vibes, just raw tension you could slice through. Erica turned her back and walked a few steps away like she was done. But everyone could tell she wasn't. She was pacing, her arms tight across her chest, jaw clenched. Have you ever had enough? She said, out loud, not even looking back at them. Like just done with people acting like they can play with your name and your story and think there won't be consequences. Yandy's voice was low, trying to keep things from blowing up even more. Erica, no one's playing with your name. We didn't. even bring you up tonight." Erica stopped and turned around slowly. "Oh, so now I'm making it up." Her eyes went from Yandy to Mendeecees, laser sharp. "You all are always acting so clean, so innocent. I say one thing, and now I'm the villain. But when y'all talk behind closed doors, it's a whole different story." Mendeecees finally stepped forward. The air in the room tightened. Even the producers had stopped pretending to be invisible. A couple of them whispered to each other near the back, trying to decide whether to cut the cameras or keep rolling. Phones were still up and a few casts. Members had slipped outside, not wanting to be caught in the middle of what was clearly spiraling fast. And then came the moment that took everything even further. Erica's voice dropped, but the way she said it sent chills through the room. "Say it again real slow," she said, walking back toward Mendeecees. "Keep pressing me and I will have you locked up for real this time. I don't care who's watching. Try me." Mendeecees didn't flinch, but the tightness in his jaw said everything. Yandy moved between them, one hand up toward Erica, the other reaching back to touch Mendeecees' chest. "Stop," she said, her voice cracking slightly. "Please, this isn't it. This isn't who we are." Erica's laugh was sharp. "Who we are," she echoed. "Girl, you don't even know who you are anymore. You used to stand up for women. Now you stand behind your husband like a shadow, afraid to admit he might actually be the problem sometimes." Hit Yandy hard. Her eyes flicked to Mendeecees, then back to Erica. "Don't talk to me like you know me," she said. "You think yelling and threatening makes you strong, but it just makes you look lost." For a split second, something passed through Erica's expression, hurt, maybe, or regret, but she swallowed it fast. "Nah," she said. "What makes me strong is not letting anyone make me feel small again. Not a man, not a woman, not a producer. Nobody." She stepped back, arms crossed again. "And if y'all can't handle me being real, maybe you shouldn't invite me around." Mendeecees looked down, shaking his head slowly. "Nobody's trying to make you feel small. Y'all got stuff we're dealing with, but coming at me like that in front of everybody, that's not right." Or raised an eyebrow. "Oh, now you care about what's right." She glanced around. "You didn't care when you were telling people I was unstable? That I couldn't be trusted? You said that, didn't you?" Mendeecees didn't answer. "You didn't have to." The silence said enough. Someone from the crew finally stepped in, trying to gently suggest a break. "Maybe we take 5, he said quietly. But nobody moved. The cast was glued to the scene. Even Spice, who normally didn't hold her tongue, was quiet. Now, eyes bouncing between the three of them like she was watching the final round of a fight nobody expected. And then, like she couldn't hold it in any longer, Yandy broke. "I have defended you," she said, voice trembling. "So many times, even when people told me not to, even when you threw me under the bus, and still here I am, standing between you and my husband, trying to stop you from turning this into something worse." Her voice cracked. "Do you even hear yourself?" Erica didn't answer at first. She just stared. Then she said, "Maybe you should stop standing between us and start seeing who he really is." And that right there was the moment the last thread holding the room together snapped. Yandy's hands dropped. She stepped back slowly, not saying anything, but the look on her face was pure devastation. She wasn't just hurt. She looked like someone who'd just seen her loyalty get torn up and thrown in her face. Men looked over at her, concern written all over her. Maybe he knew it wouldn't help. Maybe he was too stunned to move. The silence that followed was heavy. Even Erica looked like she realized she might have pushed too far. But by then, it was too late. The damage was done. Everybody knew this wasn't just reality TV anymore. This was personal. Deep, painful dot outside. The sky had turned dark. Retreat that was supposed to heal old wounds had opened new ones. And while the cameras kept rolling, the cast was left trying to figure out how they got here. How a trip meant for peace turned into a war of words, threats, and emotional wreckage. Nobody knew what would happen next. All they knew was that whatever came after this, nothing was going to be the same. Not the friendships, not the trust, not the show. Everything had changed in that one explosive moment. Nobody moved for a long while. The air felt thick, like anybody even breathed. Too loud, it might set off another explosion. Mendeecees finally turned away, walking toward the edge of the patio with his hands on his head. He wasn't pacing, just standing, still trying to collect himself. The camera zoomed in from a distance, catching him from the side. His face was mostly hidden, but the tension in his posture said it all. This wasn't the kind of drama you could walk away from. This was the kind that stuck with you. Inside, Erica sat down slowly, like the weight of what she'd just unleashed was starting to sink in. She wasn't yelling anymore. Her voice had gone quiet, and she just kept looking at her hands, twisting a bracelet around her wrist like she was trying to distract herself. Yandy stood a few feet away, arms crossed tightly over her chest, face hard but eyes wet. She wasn't saying anything, but her silence was louder than any words she could have spoken. Spice leaned over to Bambi and whispered, "Yo, that went too far." Bambi nodded. "Way too far," she said. She really said she'd have him locked up on camera. Neither of them looked like they wanted to be near the center of it anymore. They weren't laughing. They weren't throwing shade. They were just watching like everyone else. Then someone finally broke the silence. It was Shekinah standing off to the side, arms folded, eyebrows raised. "Can we just be real for a second, Shay?" she said, her voice cutting through the quiet. "Erica, are you mad? I get it. But threatening to call the police on a black man in front of everybody? Like that, come on. We've got to be better than that." Erica looked up, her face tight. "I'm not apologizing for how I felt in that moment," she said. "I was triggered." Shekinah shook her head. "I hear you, I really do. But there's a line, and you crossed it, whether you're meant to or not. That kind of threat can ruin somebody's life." Erica blinked fast, but she didn't say anything back. Maybe because she knew there was some truth in what was just said. Maybe because she didn't want to admit it in front of all those cameras. Outside, Mendeecees finally came back in. His face was calmer now, but not peaceful. He looked tired, drained, like the weight of everything was finally catching up. He walked straight up to Yandy, lowered his voice, and said, "You good?" Yandy didn't answer right away. She was still processing. Finally, she nodded slightly, but her eyes never left Erica. Mendeecees' voice turned calm but serious. "I don't know what I did to make you feel like that," he said, "but threatening to get me locked up. You crossed a line and you know it." Erica met his eyes. "You've been judging me since day one," she said quietly. "You smile in my face, but I hear what you say behind my back." "You and Yandy both." Mendeecees shook his head. "No one's perfect. Yeah, maybe we've said things, but you coming for me? Like, that ain't right. Especially not in front of all these people." He looked around the room, his voice getting just a little louder. "People already think they know us because of what they see on TV. But what they saw tonight, that isn't the full story either." Yandy finally spoke, her voice low and steady. "We all say things when we're hurt, but this," she paused. "This was different. You didn't just try to hurt him, you tried to destroy him. And for what? Because you felt like we didn't respect you. That's not how you get respect, Erica." Erica stood up again. "I don't need a lecture from you. She said, you've been fake with me for years. All that support you pretend to give is conditional only when it makes you look good. But the second I call something out, suddenly I'm the villain." "You made yourself the villain tonight," Yandy said without flinching. "You did that all on your own." The words hit hard. Erica's jaw tightened. She looked like she wanted to fire back again, but something stopped her. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe it was the look in Yandy's eyes, completely done, shut down. The energy in the room was heavy. No one was yelling anymore. But somehow the silence was even more intense. Everyone was watching, waiting to see who would speak next and what move would be made. And then, out of nowhere, the sound of a phone alert broke the tension. One of the crew members looked down at their screen and gasped. "Yo," they said, "it's already online." Within seconds, everyone's phones were out. Social media had picked up the moment. The clip of Erica shouting, "I'll have you locked up," was already circulating. Pages were reposting it. Fans were dissecting it. The hashtags were flooding. Timelines hashtag AROOKAMIN, hashtag Mendeecees single quotes S, hashtag Yandy and hashtag LHL Season 13 were trending. People were picking sides in real time. Spice scrolled through her feed, shaking her head. "Yo, the comments are wild." Bambi leaned over, reading along. Some people are saying Erica set him up. Okay. Others are saying Mendez deserved it. And for Yandy, for a moment, everything slowed down. Cameras were still rolling, but it felt like the world had gotten smaller. Just the three of them standing in the middle of a mess they couldn't undo. And then the door opened. A producer walked in, whispering something to another crew member. The message moved fast. VH1 was already requesting a review of the footage. The legal team had been notified just in case. It wasn't just drama anymore. This was business. And when that happens, things change. Yandy looked at the cameras, then at Mendeecees. "They're not going to let this die down, are they?" He shook his head, "Not with that clip out there." Erica stayed silent. Her phone buzzed again. Another message. Another blog repost. The weight of what she'd said was catching up fast, and you could see it settling on her shoulders. Thought outside. The air was cool, but inside the retreat house, everything was still burning. The damage had been done. Trust shattered. Reputations are on the line. And while the world watched through their screens, only the people in that room knew how real it really felt. This wasn't a swirl and a no more. This was the cost of being seen, the cost of speaking too loud, and the cost of pushing too far. Nobody knew if there was a way back. Not this time. Later that night, the retreat house was quiet in a way that didn't feel peaceful. It felt broken. Usual laughter, the late-night drinks, and the confessional-style convos in the kitchen. None of that was happening. Dead rooms were closed off, lights dimmed early, and the few cast members still hanging around were speaking in whispers. Outside, on the back patio, Yandy sat alone, wrapped in a blanket, staring out into the trees. Her phone buzzed every few seconds, but she didn't look down. She already knew what it was. More clips, more comments, more noise. Inside, Mendeecees paced the hallway. He hadn't slept, hadn't eaten, and couldn't stop replaying everything in his head. The way Erica had said those words, the way the room had reacted, and the way Yandy's face changed when the internet took over the story. It wasn't just about the moment anymore. It was about everything that came after. How do you recover from being accused on camera and threatened with police involvement while the world watches in real time? In another part of the house, Erica sat, curled on the edge of a bed, scrolling through her messages. Some people were backing her up, saying she was brave for standing her ground. Others were calling her dangerous, manipulative, and even evil. She had been through a lot on the show before. But this was different. She knew it. She could feel it in her chest. And even if she wasn't ready to say it out loud, part of her knew she'd taken it too far. Suddenly, there was a knock on her door. She didn't answer right away. Another knock, this time followed by a low, Almired voice. "Can we talk?" It was Mendeecees. She opened the door slowly, her face unreadable. He stood there, hands in his pockets. Not angry, not confrontational, just ... there. After a beat, she stepped aside and let him in. The room was dimly lit, the TV playing something neither of them was really watching. Two men in Mendeecees sat down across from her, Silence stretched. For a moment before he finally spoke. "I don't think you realize what that moment did.